Call this meeting to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and the invocation following. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dear God, please bless our elected officials, grant them the wisdom to know and the courage to do what is right for all citizens. Amen.
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 Roll call, please.
Allen.
Here.
Green.
Here.
LaFour.
Here.
Mastrovich.
Here.
Rendell.
Here.
Ricks.
Here.
Warren.
Here. Good to see everybody. Welcome, Becky.
Thank you.
Welcome back also.
Yes, thank you.
Approval of minutes for the City Council meeting of December 18th will be in order.
I'll make a motion.
Support.
What's been made and supported. Is there any discussion on the minutes? If not, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Against? Motion passes. We have no audience this evening unless you gentlemen have anything that you'd like to bring up. So I will now be going to the audience after each of our items. Audience comments. We move on to adoption of agenda. Mr. City Manager, any changes?
No changes.
City Council, any changes? Motion to accept the agenda as presented be in order.
I'll make the motion.
Support.
What's been made and supported. Any discussion on the motion? Being not, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Against? Motion does pass. Is there a motion for the consent agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Support.
What's been made and supported, there's no discussion on the motion. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Against? Motion does pass. We move on to items for consideration, which we have two this evening. The first one being consideration of the second reading and adoption of ordinance number 156-21, which is the sign ordinance text amendment. Mr. City Manager.
Council is scheduled to give second reading and adopt ordinance 156-21, which will amend the official zoning ordinance and amend the definition of animated copy signs, as well as clarify the cycle rate for changeable copy. This item was before you for introduction and first reading back in November 20th. There was some discussion on the cycle rate for changeable copy signs. The proposed ordinance as it was originally given to council was for having that be set at 10 seconds. Council sent it back to Planning Commission upon further review. Planning Commission is recommending having that cycle rate at 6 seconds.
Thank you very much. Is there a motion before discussion?
I make a motion to give second reading to adopt ordinance 156-21, which amends the official zoning ordinance and amend the definition of animated copy on signs, Article 25 definitions, as well as clarify the cycle rate for changeable copy, which is found on Article 13 signs. Support.
What's been made and supported? Any discussion?
I have something, Mr. Mayor. I just appreciate administration and the Planning Commission for taking a look at this, and I really have been paying attention, and I think 6 seconds is a reasonable, perfect time. And I also appreciate that they still said no animation, because the animation is just, it distracts from the downtown area. So, thank you.
Anything else? All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Against? Motion does pass. And number 2 is consideration of Fire Hall driveway improvements. Mr. City Manager?
Council is scheduled to consider adding the reconstruction of the Fire Hall entrance to the Park Street reconstruction project that is scheduled to be bid out the second week of January with a bid opening of January 30th. The driveway approach and concrete in front of the Fire Hall are both in poor condition. Several years ago, in conjunction with the reconstruction of Churchill Street, we reconstructed the northern entrance closest to the church of the parking lot, lowering the grade and making it easier to pull into the parking lot there. At that time, we didn't do the southern parking lot entrance, which is closest to the fire hall. And so in talking with the members of the department over the years, they certainly would like that lowered to the same kind of grade that we did the north entrance. Also, the last few years, the concrete in front of the fire hall has really started to spall and break up. And so while we were walking the Park Street project, our public service director, Jim Getzinger, and I, and our engineer, Ken Kingsley. We wandered over to the fire hall and kind of looked at the limits. Really, to do the job properly, we need to remove all of the concrete in front of the fire hall. Since much of that's outside the road right-of-way, it's not appropriate to charge it all to major streets. So looking at the project, about 50% is in the street and 50% is out of the street. So it's administration's recommendation to split the cost of the project between the general fund and the major street fund.
Very good. Thank you. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to authorize solicitation of bids for the fire hall driveway replacement project as base bid B to the Park Street reconstruction project with 50% of the funding coming from major street fund, 50% from the general fund.
Support.
Motion been made and supported. Any discussion on this?
Mr. Mayor, I would just like to say that I think this is a very appropriate way to delegate these funds, with the fire hall being such an important part of the city's infrastructure to repair.
Very good. Anything else?
From the fire department perspective, we've been trying to patch it for the last few years. Even the sidewalks at that point have gotten to that far where it has been a hazard even for the residents walking back and forth. And the pictures don't do it justice. There's some pretty bad marks, so this is good timing and a well-placed item in front of us.
With the weight of the vehicles that go on that, and quite often sitting there waiting to come out or sitting there to be cleaned or whatever, is that going to be a reinforced type concrete?
Yeah, 8-inch reinforced concrete,
Okay.
which is typical for a commercial approach like that.
Okay, all right. In other words, it should handle it.
Yes.
Okay, great.
Just to follow up on that, is that what it is now, or?
We don't know.
Yeah. We're not quite sure.
I don't think so,
Yeah.
judging by some of the
If I had to
trucks that are
guess.
coming out.
Okay.
Yeah.
One question we had at our command officers meeting was timing on this. Jim, any ideas? I mean, as far as us having to leave our trucks off of it and out of the station for a amount of time, no different when we did the inside floors of the hall a few years ago. It's not a big issue, but hoping for something a little bit warmer months with some of the sensitive equipment that's in the trucks.
The work itself would be, if it's coupled with the Park Street project, would be between April and June, so
Okay.
it is certainly not now. And we have talked with the chief, and we'll continue to do so to when it's bid, there'll be a window of when the work has to be completed between start and finish, and then phasing it so that we do the portions of the work to allow you to access the
Yeah,
facility,
no
whether the
problem.
garage or the parking lot.
You said something about taking all the DPW equipment out of his barn and put the fire trucks.
Very generous,
Yeah,
very generous, Jim.
very generous,
We
yeah.
appreciate that.
Yeah, yeah. Anything else on this item? All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Against? Motion does pass. City manager's comments, sir?
We're wrapping up our work with Civic Plus and have the refresher for the website pretty much done, and we should be going live next week. So I'll be getting kind of a link out to council prior to that, so you can kind of see what it looks like. I mean, kind of the bones of the website are still the same, but every 5 years, they kind of make it look a little bit more modern and up to date. So that's part of our contract with Civic Plus.
Great. I know we talked about this when we were in budget and getting into it. We had talked also about the use of charge cards.
Yep.
This will allow us to use charge cards in the future.
Not the website redesign itself, but we're in the process also kind of 2 tracks here of working with BSNA of getting everything switched over to the new accounting software.
Yeah.
And we've kind of made sure that once we go live with that, which will be around April, that the website will integrate with it seamlessly. We
Good.
there's 4 kind of round graphic buttons across the middle of the website. Right now, we just put one up for like governmental transparency, but as soon as we go live with the accounting software, we'll switch it from governmental transparency to online payments. There's another area down at the footer of the website for government transparency. We didn't want to put a button for online payments when we're not there yet.
Yeah.
We should go live with that I think, the second week of April.
Good. Great.
And so it'll be we'll just swap out the graphic button from transparency to online payments.
Yeah, great. It's going to be a good addition to the City Hall. Okay, council comments. Dennis?
I just want to wish everybody a great 2018.
Yeah,
Hopefully
absolutely.
everybody enjoys.
Jamie?
Same thing.
Emily?
I just wanted to real quick thank the DPW workers that were out on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day because we got a lot of snow. So for those of us that were traveling, especially throughout town, that was nice to see them out working, sacrificing on their holiday.
John?
I concur with everybody here.
Rob?
Yep, nothing to add.
Michael?
Same here, I concur.
Yeah, absolutely. Also, you know, as hard as that was on the DPW, and we, as Emily has said, we certainly appreciate the work that the guys went through to, you know, get the downtown back to somewhat normal after a pretty tough storm there. But I guess, how beautiful was that? Christmas Eve to get, you know, about 5 to 8 inches of snow, depending on where you were. It was absolutely beautiful. After church, we drove around town, even our main street, you know, with it was beautiful. It really was. It glistened, as they say. And then, you know, to get a little bit more, I think there's a lot of us that feel that it should be summertime anytime soon now. We had a beautiful, beautiful.
At least 32 degrees.
Christmas.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. So anyhow, go to the calendar today being the 3rd of January, 2018. We have, where is that? The library board will be meeting on the 8th at 7 o'clock at the library. The cable commission will be meeting on the 9th at 7 o'clock here at City Hall. The rec board meeting shows on our calendar that it would be tonight, but that was moved to the 9th also. That will probably be at City Hall.
Yes,
Okay.
one of the two meetings will be in the community room, the other one will be here, but both at City Hall.
Okay. And then on the 11th, we have a BZA meeting.
Yes.
Yes. Which is a good thing that we don't have very many of those. That means our ordinances are working pretty well for our community. Then Planning Commission will be meeting at 7 o'clock on the 11th, both those meetings right here at City Hall. Once the BZA meeting is over with, Planning Commission will be seated. Council has a quarterly roundtable meeting on the 15th here at City Hall at 5:30, and if necessary, after the regular City Council meeting that's held at 7, we will be seated again to do our roundtable discussions. Let's see, what else do we have? I believe that is enough. Is there anything else that we need to add to the calendar? Well, I'll say it again. I'm looking forward to working with everybody. Again, it's been exciting time on City Council, and I think it's going to be even more exciting this year. I think things are coming around really well for our community, and hope that we can continue to stay ahead of the growth and have great planning and work with our neighbors to make our community a better place. So, with that thought in mind, is there a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Support.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Against? Motion does pass. Thanks for being with us.